to project your limitless power than to have the biggest mausoleum, the biggest pyramid ever built.
Dating thousands of years ago, some relics were hidden by the gods themselves. Structures so massive, so ancient, and so mysterious that they push the limits of what we think is possible. However, recently one of such wonders, China's greatest mystery, was finally solved. The Xixia Imperial Tombs. This prehistoric megastructure isn't just ancient. It is scary. How did they even originate, and why were they not found until now? Join us in this video as we explore the scary details behind China's hidden pyramids. China's greatest mystery solved. The Xixia Imperial Tombs, hidden for centuries beneath the Helan Mountains, by God knows who, with sweeping views of the Yellow River and the vast Yinchuan Plain in northwest China's Ningxia region, the Mite Pyramid-style Xixia Imperial Tomb, recently discovered, was a witness to the glory and collapse of the Xixia Dynasty between 1038 and 1227. Spanning almost 40 square kilometers, the site holds 9 imperial tombs, 271 smaller tombs, 32 flood control relics, and the remains of ancient architecture. Together, they form the most complete and best-preserved legacy of the Xixia period. On July 11th, the tombs were officially added to the UNESCO World Heritage List at the 47th session of the World Heritage Committee in Paris, making them China's 60th World Heritage Site. The honor comes as China marks 40 years since joining the World Heritage Convention, reinforcing its position as a global leader in protecting cultural treasures. Safeguarding the tombs has become a high-tech endeavor. Since the bid for World Heritage status began, scientists have poured resources into studying and protecting the site. In 2023, the Ningxia government launched a project to develop advanced geophysical methods for large-scale archaeology. Using tools like aerial and ground magnetic surveys, electromagnetic scans, and even cosmic ray muon imaging, researchers can now explore the tombs without disturbing them, revealing hidden structures and layouts long buried beneath the soil. But the tombs face harsh conditions. Built mainly from rammed earth, they are vulnerable to cracking and erosion in the arid desert climate. To fight back, preservation teams have been testing and improving protective techniques since 2017, stabilizing soil, controlling surface wear, and installing a monitoring system that tracks 99 different indicators to spot threats early. With these tools, the Xixia Imperial Tombs are set to be preserved for generations, not just in stone and soil, but in vivid, accessible detail for the world to explore. Is the Xixia Imperial Tomb the only incredible prehistoric pyramid in China? What other secrets are hidden behind the walls of China? Keep watching to find out. The Chinese mysteries that defy historical records. On the Yellow River floodplain, where legend places the semi-mythical Xia dynasty, lies the site of Erlitou. Excavations have revealed broad ceremonial avenues, bronze foundries, and 4 palaces dating to around 1700 BCE, centuries before the first recorded Chinese king lists. The largest palace discovered, once dazzled with vermilion pillars and turquoise inlays covering 9,600 square meters. Ground-penetrating radar shows that the palace foundations extend far beyond the current dig site, hinting that an entire royal district still sleeps beneath, surrounded by wheat fields. Bronze slag heaps point to large-scale metal production, but what's striking is where the furnaces were found, inside the palace walls. This suggests direct state control over bronze, the metal that would dominate Asia for centuries. Chemical analysis of the alloy matches artifacts found as far away as Sichuan, evidence of a far-reaching trade network that existed long before historians believed possible. Despite its wealth, Erlitou shows no sign of defensive walls, suggesting a level of political dominance so strong that fortifications simply weren't needed. If carbon dating pushes its timeline back even further, historians will have to rewrite their textbooks, because Erlitou would represent a direct leap from Stone Age villages to a full-fledged, metal-wielding capital city. Just east of modern Xian, a construction crew in 1953 struck pottery shards and accidentally unearthed Banpo, a Neolithic village frozen in time. Radiocarbon dating places it between 4500 and 3700 BCE, home to roughly 500 people. The settlement was encircled by a 3-meter-wide moat, enclosing about 50,000 square meters of timber longhouses. This simple design would become a blueprint for Chinese urban planning centuries later. Post holes show the houses stood on raised floors to fight off damp winters, with central hearths that offered both warmth and a shared sense of family life. One grave revealed a mother holding her child in a final embrace, so intimate that the excavation crew refused to separate the remains. Banpo's kiln yard produced distinctive red pottery that spread rapidly across the Yellow River basin, turning the village into a manufacturing hub long before the wheel reached China. Although basalt sources lay nearby, all tools were polished stone imported from far away, evidence of barter networks older than writing itself. Today, walking the reconstructed pathways feels like standing at the first heartbeat of Chinese urban life, where defense, craft, and ceremony began to fuse into something greater. When divers pumped away water from a flooded site in 1992, they expected to find a simple quarry. Instead, they stepped into an underground world unlike anything they'd imagined. Beneath the surface lay 24 enormous man-made caverns, each soaring up to 30 meters high, carved directly into solid sandstone. Every wall bore perfect parallel grooves cut at a precise 60 degrees angle, as though some giant machine had shaved the stone clean. There were no inscriptions, no soot marks, not even a single scrap of trash to hint at who built them. Dating tests suggest the caves are more than 2,000 years old, a time when builders had no steel drills, no electric lights, and no pumps powerful enough to keep water at bay. Yet somehow, each chamber connects to the next through narrow tunnels that form a deliberate grid. Engineers today estimate that carving even one of these caverns would require fleets of diamond-tipped cutters running around the clock for months. Multiply that by 24, and you get a logistical nightmare of staggering proportions. Until the missing rock, some 600,000 cubic meters of it, is found, or an ancient record surfaces describing the workforce, the Longyou caves remain a riddle carved in stone, proof that their creators knew engineering secrets we still can't match. Yet, this is only the beginning of ancient Chinese secrets. What other secret chambers are hidden in Chinese records? Keep watching to find out. The Yangshan Quarry Stele Base. High on a misty Jiangsu hillside, about 300 meters up, lies the Yangshan Quarry. This location is home to the largest single stone blocks humans have ever tried to carve. In 1405, imperial craftsmen began cutting a massive memorial stele for the Yongle Emperor, carving it straight from the mountainside. They shaped the head, the body, and the base, until they realized the math didn't add up. The base alone weighed around 16,250 tons, roughly the same as the USS Iowa battleship. Moving it down the slope without destroying the roads would have snapped every wooden roller in Ming-era China. The three pieces were abandoned in place, their sharp edges and chisel marks still visible centuries later. Even today, the largest modern cranes can only lift around 20,000 tons under perfect conditions, while the stele's combined weight is over 31,000 tons. No one knows exactly how the Imperial engineers planned to move it, or why all the project records suddenly disappeared. Now, visitors wander through moss-covered paths, staring up at stone faces taller than apartment buildings, imagining work crews struggling to drag these behemoths onto barges that never came. The quarry feels like a disaster movie frozen mid-scene, a monument to the moment ambition outran technology. It's a reminder that ancient China dared to attempt feats so vast they'd still make today's structural engineers break into a sweat. Would technology have made their calculations easier? Are there more of such horrendous acts of Chinese ambition? Keep watching to find out. Chinese mystery cities that vanished without trace. On the lowest plateau of Shanxi, archaeologists uncovered the ruins of Shimao, a prehistoric fortress that predates the Great Wall by nearly 2,000 years. Covering 400 hectares, the city rises around a stepped pyramid nearly 230 feet tall. Its limestone blocks lock together with the precision of Lego bricks, and laser scans reveal walls stretching for 5.7 kilometers, broken only by fortified bastions and an intricate gate system. Inside the pyramid, jade inlays and snake-like carvings gleam under work lights, whispering of a ruling elite who commanded both immense wealth and fear. Shimao wasn't just a city, it was a fortress of power, mystery, and silent warnings from an age long past. Excavations at Shimao have turned up something far darker than walls and carvings. Pits filled with decapitated human heads, carefully arranged in chilling patterns. These were sacrifices offered to a power whose name has vanished from history. Carbon dating places the city's prime between 2300 and 1800 BCE, long before bronze chariots roared across China. No metal tools have been found, yet the stonework fits so tightly it shrugs off earthquakes that crumble modern buildings nearby. Satellite images reveal faint outlines of more terraces buried beneath farmland, hinting that the visible pyramid may be just the tip of something far larger. Every shovel of dirt uncovers more murals, graves, and a creeping possibility. Advanced kingdoms may have risen in China far earlier than official history admits. High above the Xian River, black openings dot the granite cliffs of Hashan like doorways to another world. Locals once thought they were old mining scars, until surveyors descended inside and found something extraordinary. 36 vast caverns wind through the mountain, the largest stretching 170 meters long, with ceilings soaring 20 meters high. Thick stone columns, deliberately left uncut, hold up chambers the size of cathedrals. Tool marks spiral across the walls in perfect rows, as if the workers followed chalk lines in flickering torchlight. Yet there's no soot on the ceilings. That absence has sparked theories about ancient mirrored light shafts, or even water-filled lamps to illuminate the work. The grottos are a testament to a level of planning and execution that feels impossibly advanced for their unknown age. Archaeologists date the Hashan grottos to at least 1,400 years ago, but some suspect they are far older, pointing to entrances now perched 70 meters above the current river level, suggesting dramatic changes over time. The total volume excavated exceeds 200,000 cubic meters. Yet, like the Longyou caves, no spoil piles have ever been found. For centuries, locals have fished the river below without pulling up a single discarded tool or statue to explain the effort. When modern engineers entered with laser scanners, they left baffled, admitting that today's blasting methods would likely shatter the delicate pillars left to support the chambers. How prehistoric was prehistoric China? Do these findings suggest something more about China? Let's find out. a 1,000-year-old civilization hidden for millennia in the wetlands of Zhejiang. Liangzhu first appeared in 2018 through high-resolution scans, a ghostly grid beneath endless rice paddies. Dating back to around 3300 BCE, this ancient city sprawled across 34 square kilometers. At its heart stood earthen walls nearly 4 meters high, but its true genius lay in its water management. More than 30 dams, canals, and reservoirs laced the valley together, controlling seasonal floods that even today challenge modern engineers. Core samples revealed silt layers trapped behind artificial embankments, proof that Liangzhu's builders mastered large-scale hydrology thousands of years before recorded history credited anyone with such skill. In the ceremonial center rose Mohia Shan Palace, an immense platform the size of 9 football fields. Here, jade Kong cylinders and polished axes were arranged with the precision of coded symbols. No written record tells of Liangzhu's rise or fall, but pollen samples point to a sudden drought around 2300 BCE. The people vanished. The dams did not. Even now, their silent walls still hold back water, the channels slowly choking with reeds. Modern engineers who study the system admit it could take years and staggering precision to rebuild it today. Perched on the windswept ridges above the Liao River, the Niuheliang complex is another masterpiece of a civilization. This complex holds 4,500 years of ritual memory. At first glance, its centerpiece appears to be a natural hill, but excavation revealed a man-made pyramid, its core built from stacked stone, its surface capped in crimson clay that once glowed under the morning sun. Beside it stands the famed goddess temple, where a life-sized clay face with painted eyes once gazed through an opening perfectly aligned with the midsummer sunrise. Across the escarpment, 14 circular tomb platforms lie scattered, each packed with jade pigs, dragons, and rings, objects older than the earliest written Chinese symbols. Geologists found that the builders quarried sandstone from cliffs nearly 20 kilometers away, hauling the massive blocks uphill before fitting them without mortar. The terraces they left behind align with solstice sunrises, forming a vast astronomical calendar. No ancient text in the Yellow River script mentions this culture. Yet DNA from the buried elite connects them to modern northern Chinese populations, suggesting they may be the forgotten roots of Chinese statehood. What unsettles researchers most is the sheer scale of labor. Moving that much stone would demand more than 30,000 tons of transport, even with today's trucks. On a windswept terrace above the Trim River, more than 200 stone mounds stand like frozen campfires. Dating from the Warring States through the Han period, they mark a Silk Road necropolis, where nomadic chiefs met merchants. Each mound is made from fist-sized stones stacked in concentric circles, topped with a square platform, a blend of steppe and early Chinese traditions. Grave goods reveal the cultural crossroads: felt hats, Indo-Persian beads, and Chinese mirrors. The arid climate has preserved human hair and leather, though paper scrolls have rotted away, leaving only copper writing brushes. Radar surveys show empty corridors inside many mounds, wooden chambers that collapsed long after looters took the bronzes. One extraordinary find was a wooden mask, perfectly preserved, painted with swirling red lines in a style seen nowhere else in Asia. Some believe it marked clan ties that stretched across deserts wider than Europe. Today, armed guards protect the excavators from looting gangs, and most mounds remain untouched, stones rattling in the wind, guarding the untold stories of cultures that met at the roof of the world. Yet, more secrets lurk behind the history books of China. What else is 1,000-year-old in China? Keep watching to find out. China's ancient science long before scientists. Long before bronze, long before formal calendars, the villagers of Taosi built an astronomical device rivaling Stonehenge for precision. 13 packed earth columns, each about 2 meters wide, stand in a semicircle overlooking the Fen River plain. The gaps between them align with the positions of the sunrise throughout the year, allowing ancient priests to track the solstices within a margin of just 2 days. Archaeologists proved the function by standing there on modern solstice mornings and watching sunlight pour through the gaps, casting the same shadows it did over 4,000 years ago. Though the observatory covers only about 1,000 square meters, its impact was enormous. Accurate solar timing meant predictable planting seasons, taxation schedules, and ritual ceremonies. Nearby artifacts include jade knives, drums, and eerie skull drums, human craniums bearing cut marks that hint at ceremonies where devotion may have blended with fear. Most astonishing of all, 3D scans reveal that the platform's radius varies by less than 3 centimeters, a feat of precision hard to imagine using baskets of rammed clay. Taosi pushes the origins of Chinese astronomy back to 2100 BCE, forcing scholars to admit that formal science in China was born from ritual far earlier than they once believed. The world knows the terracotta army, but few grasp the true scale of the tomb it guards. Beneath a 76-meter-tall earthen mound lies a subterranean city built for China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Ground surveys reveal a rectangular complex stretching 5.6 kilometers, encircled by double walls and watchtowers so vast they dwarf the entire Vatican. And that's just the surface outline. What lies within remains largely untouched, sealed by legend and caution. Modern surveys show mercury concentrations 50 times higher than background levels, matching ancient chronicles that speak of flowing rivers of liquid metal winding through a model empire sealed beneath the mound. No one dares drill. A single puncture could release toxic mercury vapor or trigger hidden traps, destroying irreplaceable frescoes the moment fresh air rushes in. The famous terracotta army? Those soldiers guard only the outer barracks. The true burial chamber lies 30 meters underground, still untouched. Radar imaging reveals vaulted roofs supported by timber beams long since decayed, yet miraculously held in place by the pressure of packed soil. Archaeologists argue over whether the chamber should ever be opened. One misstep could bring it all down, crushing scrolls and artifacts that have survived in oxygen-free darkness for over 2 millennia. Until technology evolves, the pyramid-shaped tomb remains sealed, its mercury rivers and jeweled ceilings locked in lethal silence. A reminder that some secrets are willing to kill to stay hidden. Will these tombs ever be opened? What else lies in the sinister history of China's history book? Mystery pyramids that make ancient Chinese fiction true. Scattered across the farmlands near Xian, dozens of weather-softened pyramids rise from the soil, their slopes now planted with wheat. From above, they form a precise grid, each mound aligned with the 4 cardinal points. Historical records and satellite imagery identify at least 38 royal tombs spanning the Qin to Tang dynasties, some towering over 70 meters. The largest, Maoling, once gleamed under white plaster, a beacon for Silk Road caravans. Astrophysicists studying their layout found statistically significant alignments with lunar standstill points, hinting that imperial astronomers encoded celestial knowledge into the very ground plan. Several mounds fall within restricted military zones, feeding rumors of unexcavated chambers filled with scrolls and intricate mechanical devices. Core samples show packed earth bricks layered with clay sheets, an ancient waterproofing method still effective today. But excavation faces strict legal barriers. In China, grave robbery is punishable by death, and even scientific digs require near-impossible approvals. For now, researchers can only scan from a distance, staring at LiDAR images that may conceal entire lost libraries lying just meters away, yet forever out of reach. Deep in the mossy forests of Gaoling, massive gray slabs rise from the earth like the jaws of sleeping giants. These are the Hifa River dolmens, more than 80 megalithic tombs built from granite around the 5th century BCE. Each follows the same blueprint: 2 upright stones supporting a single capstone, some the size of city buses. Unlike Korean dolmens, these align north-south, suggesting a local cosmology now lost to time. Inside, archaeologists found bronze knives lying beside deer antlers, a blend of steppe hunting traditions and early farming culture. Most slabs were quarried across the river and dragged over ice in winter, then levered upright using timber tripods. The labor required rivals that of Egypt's pyramid builders, yet this culture left no written record. Charcoal layers date construction to a single generation, a sudden, united burst of effort. Local legends whisper that the dolmens seal gateways to the sky, and villagers still leave offerings of millet at their base during the solstice. For researchers, they mark the northern edge of East Asia's megalithic tradition, a silent frontier between rising kingdoms. If science is beginning to discover these cities thought to be fictional, what then is the dividing line between fiction and reality in China? Keep watching to find out. Heaven's Wheels, Mystery Chinese Findings. By pilots across the scorching flats near Turpan, pilots have reported perfect stone rings etched into the desert, visible only from above. On the ground, they appear as low rims of fist-sized stones, some circles stretching over 150 meters across. Archaeologists have mapped more than 200 shapes, rings, keyholes, even long serpentine lines dating back up to 4,500 years. Magnetic scans reveal central fire pits rich in ash, suggesting open-sky funerary rites. The wind-polished stones still hold burial goods: bronze arrowheads, bone tools, and glass beads likely carried along the Proto-Silk Road. But one mystery remains: the logistics. Without pack animals, hauling so much rock across shifting dunes would have pushed any small clan to exhaustion. Some researchers suspect the builders were part of a vast seasonal network, gathering here under the desert sun for rites that bound far-flung tribes together before vanishing back into the steppe. Some researchers believe these were seasonal caravan stations where nomadic tribes paused to perform sky burials before heading west. Others suggest they were ancient markers, but the alignments scatter too widely for any clear pattern. What unsettles archaeologists most is the scale of what's still hidden. For every ring mapped on the ground, satellite imagery hints at dozens more buried beneath shifting dunes, possibly forming a vast network stretching across thousands of kilometers. Until LiDAR-equipped drones sweep the desert, the full picture remains buried in sand. For now, the Gobi circles sit under a blazing sky, their message written in stone, waiting for someone to read it. Few hikers on Lama or Lantau Islands notice the stone rings tucked away just off the trails. The most striking, the Lo A Tsai Circle, arranges 28 granite blocks into twin overlapping wheels spanning 13 meters. Another, The Fan Lao Circle crowns a windswept ridge with a graceful arc of shoulder-high pillars. Pottery shards date them to the late Neolithic, when rising seas turned these islands into isolated hilltops. Both circles face southeast, directly toward the winter sunrise, perhaps guiding fishermen's prayers for safe voyages. Today, banyan roots curl around the stones, while skyscrapers glitter across the harbor. Heritage laws protect the sites from bulldozers, but nature has claimed them. Lichen growth suggests their surfaces are older than many mainland megaliths, and ceramic discs match coastal Fujian styles, proof of maritime trade long before recorded ship logs. At dusk, the city hum fades. Inside the rings, the air feels muted, as if the stones absorb sound. Each year, a handful of researchers camp here with magnetometers, chasing hints of a hidden purpose. So far, the readings whisper only faint anomalies, keeping the stone's secrets intact. Will the secret messages in these rings ever be found? What more has archaeologists found? Keep watching to find out. Architecture's older than time and more advanced than technology. North of modern-day Qifeng, a chain of raised platforms runs for over 10 kilometers across Inner Mongolia and Liaoning. They align neatly along a northeast axis, each dotted with altars where pig-dragon jade figurines were buried in clustered groups. Magnetic scans reveal faint signatures beneath every platform, likely cavities that once held organic offerings, now long decayed. The sheer volume of jade is staggering. Even today, transporting such stone would drain the resources of small towns. One burial site contained a crown made of 11 hollow jade tubes, each painstakingly shaped over weeks, using only sand and water. Dated between 4700 and 2900 BCE, these platforms force a rethink of early Chinese society, showing how vast labor forces were organized before the invention of metal tools or the wheel. Some scholars believe the network acted like a pilgrimage route, drawing clans toward a central gathering timed to celestial events. Excavations have uncovered cattle vertebrae used for oracle readings, linking these rituals to the divination practices of the later Shang Dynasty. Standing on the ridges today, researchers see more than just ancient altars. They glimpse the earliest blueprint for the mandate of heaven, a belief written not in ink, but in the alignment of stone and the shimmer of jade. After the Han emperors adopted the Qin pyramid style, they multiplied it across the empire, creating a necropolis belt to rival Egypt's. The tomb of Emperor Wu at Maoling rises 46 meters high, with a 240-meter base, built from layered, rammed earth, compacted to withstand earthquakes. Recent LiDAR scans revealed a buried ceremonial avenue stretching 3 kilometers toward the Wei River, lined with carved stone stelae. In 2024, archaeologists opened 3 satellite tombs, finding lacquerware, silk banners, and even a complete bronze cavalry unit. But the main chamber remains sealed. Ground resistivity surveys show empty voids inside. Yet drilling risks a sudden rush of air that could ignite lacquer dust. Outside, high mercury levels near vent shafts suggest booby traps, echoing the dangers of Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum. Scans also show layered climate control engineering, clay, charcoal, and reed mats, designed to protect the tomb's contents for millennia. Standing in the shadow of the pyramid, curators argue for patience. Our tools, they say, are still too crude to face Han engineering head-on. So, how did the ancient engineers build these architectures? Is China to be feared for these structures? Keep watching to find out. The Pre-Qin Great Wall foundations. Long before the Ming's brick battlements, China's borders were marked by earlier walls. In the rolling hills of Shandong and Henan, faint mud ridges hide the remains of fortifications built by the states of Qi and Chu as early as the 7th century BCE. One section near Juan runs unbroken for 20 kilometers, made from tamped loess reinforced with oak palisades, older than Rome's city walls. Excavations uncovered charred gateway posts from siege fires, carbon dated to the spring and autumn period. Stone arrowheads still litter the parapets, where archers fell over 2,500 years ago. Laser mapping shows drainage ditches and watchtower bases every 400 meters, evidence of coordinated logistics. Tests reveal the builders mixed sticky rice soup into the mud, a biochemical trick that greatly increased strength, only rediscovered in modern times. Today, erosion eats away at these ancient ramparts faster than archaeologists can record them. Yet deeper excavation risks collapse, forcing teams to rely on ground-penetrating radar and delicate brushwork. These forgotten walls prove that mega-scale defense projects were part of Chinese strategy centuries before unification, and that, while technology evolves, the anxiety of guarding the frontier never fades. A recent survey shocked archaeologists: 45 megalithic sites across China, with 35 concentrated in Xian. These range from table-like stones balanced on ridges to corridors carved straight through mountains, all dating to the late Neolithic. What puzzles archaeologists most is the repetition. Each site uses the same geometry, as if built from a shared design manual now lost. Some researchers believe a league of priest engineers may have carried a calendar cult along ancient river trade routes, spreading both their architecture and their astronomy. Local villagers still hold moon festivals inside the mountain passages, lighting candles that never blow out, protected by perfect ancient airflow design. With funding scarce, only 3 of the 45 sites have been fully excavated, leaving hundreds of alignments unmeasured. An entire chapter of Proto-Chinese architecture waits in the shadows. What do you think about China's greatest mysteries and the discovered pyramids? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.